Have you ever wondered why some women effortlessly command respect and admiration from men without saying much? It's not about loud declarations or grand gestures. True respect is earned through silent actions, those small but powerful habits that reflect self-worth, confidence, and emotional intelligence. In love, you don't need to shout to be heard or bend over backward to prove your value. Real respect comes from how you carry yourself, how you honor your boundaries, and how you interact with the world around you. These actions, rooted in Stoic principles, are not just simple, they're transformative. They quietly teach men to admire and value you on a deeper level. In this video, we'll uncover the secret behind these silent actions, how they create an undeniable presence and shift the way men perceive and value you. These are not surface-level tips, but profound lessons rooted in timeless principles, offering you a way to transform your relationships without ever raising your voice. If you've been searching for ways to feel respected, valued, and truly seen, this is your moment. Stay with me until the end to discover how you can start embodying these actions today. And don't forget to share this with someone who needs it. Your story matters. Share it in the comments below, and let's inspire one another on this journey. 1. Embrace independence. In relationships, independence is not about distancing yourself or shutting others out. It's about cultivating a life where you are complete and thriving, whether or not someone is standing beside you. Independence is magnetic, and it commands respect because it shows strength, clarity, and self-reliance. As Seneca once said, "A wise man is content with his lot, wherever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." This wisdom applies perfectly to love. When you live a life where you are content, where your happiness is not tied to anyone else, you exude a quiet confidence that others can't ignore. You're financially secure because you've built a stable career or pursued passions that fuel your income. You don't rely on anyone to provide for you, and that independence allows you to set the tone for your own life. I remember meeting someone who shared a story about fixing her car on her own. It wasn't just the act of repairing the vehicle, it was the attitude behind it. She didn't wait for help or seek validation. She simply solved the problem herself. That energy? It's irresistible because it reflects a deep sense of capability. But let's be clear, independence doesn't mean rejecting help when it's needed. There's strength in being self-reliant, but also wisdom in allowing others to support you at times. This balance is key. It shows that while you can stand tall on your own, you also value connection and partnership. Think about the energy that independence brings. It says, "I am enough, but I choose to let you into my life." That distinction is crucial. Men respect women who know their worth and don't seek completion from someone else. Instead, they seek connection from a place of abundance. Now let's break it down. What does embracing independence look like in everyday life? It starts with knowing yourself, your values, your goals, and your passions. Independence thrives when you are clear about what you want and aren't afraid to go after it. Maybe it's pursuing a career that lights you up, or dedicating time to a hobby that makes you feel alive. These are the things that make your life rich and fulfilling. Picture yourself as the center of your own universe. You are the sun, and everything else revolves around you. Not because you demand it, but because you radiate energy, purpose, and joy. This isn't about selfishness, it's about self-fulfillment. And when you are fulfilled, you naturally inspire respect and admiration. Men are drawn to women who carry themselves with this kind of independence because it signals strength. It says, "I don't need you to complete me, but I choose to share my life with you." That distinction creates a dynamic of mutual respect, where both individuals contribute equally to the relationship. But independence isn't just about career success or hobbies, it's also about emotional self-sufficiency. Ask yourself, do you rely on others to validate your feelings or boost your self-esteem? If so, it might be time to turn inward. Journaling, meditation, or even small acts of self-care can help you cultivate a sense of inner peace. Remember, when your happiness comes from within, it's unshakable. Here's a practical tip. Start by taking small steps toward independence. If you've always relied on someone else to handle certain aspects of your life, challenge yourself to take them on. Maybe it's managing your finances, learning a new skill, or tackling a project you've been putting off. Each small victory builds confidence and strengthens your ability to stand on your own. Let's not forget one of the most attractive aspects of independence. It creates space for your partner to shine as well. When you are not clinging to someone for support or validation, you allow them to step into their strengths. This mutual empowerment is what makes relationships thrive. Independence doesn't mean you don't need anyone. It means you don't depend on anyone for your happiness. When you embody this mindset, you naturally command respect. It's a silent but powerful message that says, I know my worth, and I honor it. And when you live this way, others can't help but honor it too. So, what step will you take today to embrace your independence? Perhaps it's something as small as trying a new activity alone, or as big as pursuing a long-held dream. Whatever it is, know that each step you take brings you closer to a life that commands respect, not through words, but through the quiet power of your actions. 2. Live by your values. If you don't know to what port you are sailing, no wind is favorable. Seneca. These words capture the essence of living by your values. Your values are your compass, guiding every decision you make, every boundary you set, and every action you take. In love, this clarity becomes your strength, offering stability not just for yourself, but for the relationship you're building. When you live by your values, you show the world who you are at your core: honest, strong, and trustworthy. It's this unshakable integrity that naturally earns respect, especially from men who admire authenticity over perfection. Imagine steering a ship through turbulent waters. Without a clear direction, every wave feels like a threat. But when you're guided by your inner compass, no matter how rough the seas, you stay on course. That's the power of living by your values. It keeps you steady, no matter what life throws at you. You're offered an incredible job opportunity, but it requires compromising your ethical principles. The pay is tempting, but something deep inside tells you it's not aligned with who you are. So, you politely decline, trusting that staying true to your values will lead to something better. Or imagine receiving a gift or favor from someone, and instead of accepting it out of obligation, you gently refuse because it doesn't feel right. These moments may seem small, but they are monumental. They communicate to the world and to yourself that your integrity is non-negotiable. Men notice this. They see a woman who doesn't waver, who stands firm in her beliefs even when it's inconvenient. That strength is magnetic because it's rare. It shows that you're not just looking for approval or trying to please others. You're living a deeply authentic life. And in relationships, that authenticity builds a foundation of trust and respect. But let's not confuse living by your values with being inflexible or rigid. It's not about never bending. It's about knowing where you stand and making conscious choices. Flexibility rooted in values is like a tree that sways in the wind, but remains deeply rooted. You adapt, but you never lose sight of who you are. This approach doesn't just strengthen your relationships, it enhances your self-respect. When you act in alignment with your values, you reinforce your confidence. There's no room for regret because every choice reflects your truth, and when you respect yourself, others naturally follow suit. Let's bring this closer to love. Say your partner proposes an idea or plan that doesn't align with your principles. It might be easy to agree for the sake of harmony, but what happens when you do? Over time, resentment builds because you've compromised a part of yourself. Instead, imagine calmly explaining your perspective, standing firm in what feels right for you. The outcome? He may not immediately understand, but he will respect your conviction. And that respect deepens connection. Living by your values also creates consistency, and consistency builds trust. Think of someone in your life who always keeps their word, no matter how difficult the circumstances. You likely trust and respect them deeply. Now imagine being that person, not just for others but for yourself. That level of integrity makes you someone others look up to, admire, and want to be around. Here's a practical way to embrace this principle. Take time to define your core values. Write them down. What matters most to you? Honesty, kindness, independence, loyalty? Once you've identified them, reflect on whether your actions align with these values. Are there areas where you're compromising? If so, how can you adjust to live more authentically? Remember, values are not about perfection. They're about direction. Each day is an opportunity to realign and recommit to the principles that matter most. And as you live by them, you'll find yourself not only commanding respect, but also attracting relationships that reflect your highest self. So the next time you face a decision, ask yourself, does this align with my values? If the answer is yes, move forward with confidence. If it's no, trust yourself enough to walk away. Because when you live by your values, you don't just sail through life, you navigate it with purpose, clarity, and dignity. And that's the kind of strength that earns lasting respect. 3. Set and maintain boundaries. Imagine this. You're in a relationship and your partner asks you to cancel plans with friends to spend more time with him. It feels innocent, even sweet at first. But deep down, you know that giving in means sacrificing something important to you. You pause, take a breath, and gently say, I value our time together, but I've already committed to my plans. Let's find another time to connect. That simple response carries weight. It asserts your boundaries and communicates your self-respect. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Setting boundaries is one of the clearest ways to harness that inner power. It's not about shutting others out or creating walls. It's about defining what you will and won't accept in a relationship, ensuring that you protect your emotional well-being while fostering mutual respect. Boundaries are like the foundation of a house. They provide structure and stability. Without them, even the strongest relationships can crumble under the weight of misunderstandings and unmet needs. When you communicate your limits, you're not just protecting yourself. You're also creating a safe space for your partner to grow alongside you. But let's address the fear many people have. If I set boundaries, won't it push him away? The truth is that boundaries act as filters, not barriers. They reveal who is willing to respect you and who isn't. A man who truly values you will lean in, not pull back. He'll recognize that your ability to say no stems from a place of strength and self-awareness, and he'll respect you more for it. Think of boundaries as a way of teaching others how to treat you. They reflect your self-worth and set the tone for your relationship dynamics. For example, let's say you're on a date, and he suggests something that goes against your values or makes you uncomfortable. Instead of over-explaining or justifying your feelings, you simply smile and say, "That's not for me." That calm clarity is powerful. It shows that you trust yourself and your instincts. Psychologically, boundaries also help maintain emotional balance. When you consistently honor your limits, you avoid feelings of resentment or burnout. Relationships thrive on reciprocity, and when both partners feel respected, they're more likely to invest in each other wholeheartedly. Now let's talk about practical steps to set and maintain boundaries effectively. 1. Be clear and direct. Ambiguity leads to confusion. If something bothers you, communicate it clearly and kindly. For instance, instead of saying, "I'm kind of uncomfortable when you do that," try, "I prefer if we handle this differently because it aligns better with my values." 2. Stay consistent. Boundaries lose their power when they're enforced inconsistently. If you've set a rule or expectation, stick to it. Consistency reinforces your message and helps others understand you mean what you say. 3. Balance firmness with flexibility. Boundaries should be firm enough to protect your values, but flexible enough to adapt to changing circumstances. It's about finding the middle ground that works for you and your partner. Here's a real-life example to illustrate this balance. Imagine you're working on a personal goal, like completing a course or pursuing a fitness challenge. Your partner, while supportive, occasionally asks you to skip sessions to spend more time together. Instead of feeling torn, you calmly explain, "This goal is important to me, and I appreciate your understanding as I prioritize it. Let's plan a special evening together after my next session." This approach asserts your boundaries while showing your willingness to nurture the relationship. Boundaries are also deeply tied to self-respect. When you honor your needs, you're telling yourself, "I matter." And when you believe that, others will too. It's a silent yet profound way of commanding respect without demanding it. In love, boundaries are not about control. They're about creating space for trust, growth, and mutual admiration. They help both partners bring their best selves to the relationship. Remember, you're not just setting limits for others, you're also setting standards for how you want to live and love. So, as you reflect on your relationships, ask yourself, what boundaries do I need to set to honor my values and protect my peace? Start small, be consistent, and trust that the right people will respect the strong, self-assured version of you that emerges. Because when you set boundaries, you're not just preserving your dignity. You're building a relationship that stands on the foundation of mutual respect and understanding. 4. Listen more than you speak. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, am I truly listening, or am I just waiting for my turn to speak? This simple yet powerful question can transform the way you connect with others, especially in relationships. Listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding emotions, intentions, and the deeper meaning behind what's being said. As Epictetus wisely observed, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. In love, listening is one of the most profound ways to show respect and care. When you give someone your full attention, you create a safe space for them to share their thoughts and feelings. This isn't just about nodding along, it's about being present, engaged, and genuinely interested in their world. Men, in particular, often value partners who can listen without judgment or interruption. It's through this quiet, steady attention that trust and admiration are built. Imagine this scenario. He comes home after a long, stressful day at work. As he sits down, he starts to talk about the pressure he's been under, the deadlines, the expectations, the frustrations. Instead of immediately offering advice or relating the conversation back to your own experiences, you pause. You look at him, nod gently, and say, "That sounds overwhelming. How are you feeling about all of this?" That one simple question shifts the dynamic entirely. It tells him, "I hear you. I value what you're saying. I'm here for you." This is the power of listening, not just as a skill, but as a gesture of respect. When you listen deeply, you're not only validating his thoughts, but also fostering a connection that words alone can't achieve. Listening is the gateway to understanding, and understanding is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. From a psychological perspective, deep listening satisfies one of the most basic human needs, the need to be seen and heard. When someone feels truly heard, they feel valued. This creates a positive feedback loop, encouraging more open and honest communication. It's no wonder that relationships built on active listening tend to be stronger and more fulfilling. But how can you cultivate this skill? It starts with mindfulness. When you're in a conversation, focus entirely on the other person. Put your phone down, make eye contact, and let your body language convey that you're fully present. Avoid the urge to interrupt or mentally rehearse your response while they're speaking. Instead, listen for cues, tone, emotion, pauses that reveal what they're truly trying to communicate. For example, he might say, "I feel like I can't catch a break at work." On the surface, it's about work stress, but underneath, he might be expressing feelings of inadequacy or frustration. By asking follow-up questions like, "What's been the hardest part for you?" or "How can I support you right now?" you invite him to open up further. This not only deepens the conversation, but also strengthens your bond. Listening more than you speak also requires a certain level of emotional discipline. There will be times when you want to jump in with solutions or defend your perspective, but as Epictetus reminds us, listening is about balance. It's about resisting the urge to dominate the conversation and instead embracing the quiet strength of understanding. And here's the beautiful part. Listening isn't just a gift to the other person. It's a gift to yourself. When you truly listen, you learn. You gain insights into his world, his struggles, and his dreams. You become attuned to his needs, which allows you to respond with empathy and wisdom. Over time, this creates a dynamic of mutual respect where both partners feel valued and understood. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation, try this. Pause before responding. Let his words sink in. Ask thoughtful questions. And most importantly, listen not just to reply, but to understand. In doing so, you'll find that respect isn't something you demand, it's something you naturally inspire through the quiet power of your attention. Because when you listen more than you speak, you're not just hearing words, you're building bridges. You're creating a space where love, respect, and connection can thrive. And that in itself is a silent action that speaks volumes. 5. Balance support without overgiving. Support is an essential part of love. It strengthens the bond, nurtures trust, and creates a partnership where both individuals can thrive. However, support becomes a double-edged sword when it crosses the line into overgiving. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Do not give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they do not care at all." This insight reminds us that maintaining emotional balance is critical, not just for ourselves but for the health of our relationships. In love, the balance between helping and holding back is delicate yet vital. When you give too much of your time, energy, or even your identity, you risk losing a part of yourself. This can lead to feelings of exhaustion, resentment, or even dependence. True support, on the other hand, comes from a place of strength and self-awareness. It's about empowering your partner without sacrificing your own needs. Imagine a scenario where your partner is going through a challenging time at work. He feels overwhelmed and shares his frustrations with you. As someone who cares deeply, your instinct may be to solve his problems, take on some of his burdens, or overextend yourself to ease his stress. While these gestures come from a good place, they may unintentionally signal that you don't trust him to handle his challenges on his own. Instead, consider this approach. Listen intently, acknowledge his feelings, and offer encouragement without trying to fix everything. For instance, you might say, "I can see how difficult this is for you. I believe in your ability to figure this out, and I'm here if you need to talk or brainstorm ideas." This response validates his emotions while also reinforcing his autonomy and capability. From a psychological perspective, overgiving can disrupt the balance of a relationship. Studies show that when one partner consistently gives more than they receive, it can create an unhealthy dynamic where the giver feels depleted and the recipient feels either guilty or entitled. On the other hand, balanced support fosters mutual respect and encourages personal growth for both individuals. Here's a practical way to find that balance. Set boundaries around your time and energy. Supporting someone doesn't mean abandoning your own needs or priorities. For example, if your partner asks for help but you already have commitments, it's okay to say, "I want to help you, but I need to finish what I'm working on first. Let's find a time later to talk through this." This not only shows that you value your own responsibilities, but also teaches your partner to respect your limits. Support without overgiving also involves recognizing when to step back. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is allow your partner to face challenges independently. It's in these moments that they grow stronger and develop resilience. Your role isn't to shield them from every difficulty, but to stand beside them as a source of encouragement and stability. Balance also means ensuring that your support is authentic, not driven by guilt, obligation, or the desire for reciprocation. When you give from a genuine place, your partner feels that sincerity and it strengthens the bond between you. However, when giving comes with hidden expectations, it can create tension and undermine the relationship. Now, let's personalize this concept. Think about a time when you felt overwhelmed by giving too much. What would have changed if you had set clearer boundaries or asked for help in return? Reflecting on these experiences can help you identify patterns and create healthier dynamics moving forward. Ultimately, support in a relationship is not about how much you give, but how intentionally you give. It's about creating a partnership where both individuals feel empowered, valued, and respected. By balancing support with self-care, you cultivate a relationship built on mutual strength and admiration. So as you navigate the balance of giving and holding back, remember this. The best support uplifts without overpowering, encourages without controlling, and empowers without enabling. When you master this art, you create a space where love and respect can truly flourish. 6. Respect his autonomy. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Epictetus. These words are a timeless reminder that respect for autonomy is one of the greatest gifts you can offer in love. It's not about relinquishing your influence or presence in a relationship, but about recognizing that true connection flourishes when both partners feel free to be themselves. Respecting his autonomy means giving him the space to pursue his passions, make his own choices, and grow as an individual. This isn't about detachment, it's about trust. When you respect his freedom, you're silently saying, I believe in your ability to navigate your own life, and I'm here to support you, not control you. This kind of trust creates an atmosphere where love can grow naturally without the weight of unnecessary expectations or pressure. Imagine this scenario. He tells you he wants to join a fishing trip with his friends, but you sense his hesitation. He's worried that you might feel neglected or disapproved. Instead of questioning his decision or making him feel guilty, you respond with encouragement. That sounds like a great way to recharge. Enjoy yourself, and let me know how it goes. That simple statement reassures him that you respect his choices and trust his judgment. It also strengthens the bond between you because it shows you value his individuality. Psychologically, autonomy is deeply tied to happiness and fulfillment. Studies in relationship dynamics reveal that partners who feel supported in their independence tend to report higher satisfaction and trust in their relationships. Why? Because autonomy allows people to bring their best selves into the partnership. When he feels free to pursue his goals and interests, he's more likely to approach the relationship with energy, enthusiasm, and a sense of balance. But respecting autonomy doesn't mean ignoring your own needs or boundaries. It's about finding a balance where both partners can thrive independently while nurturing the relationship. For example, if his plans clash with something important to you, communicate your feelings calmly and respectfully. You might say, I know this trip means a lot to you, and I want you to enjoy it. Can we also plan a special evening together when you're back? This approach validates both his independence and your desire for connection. From a Stoic perspective, respecting autonomy also means letting go of the need to control what lies beyond your power. As Epictetus teaches, we cannot control others' actions or decisions, only our response to them. By embracing this principle, you free yourself from unnecessary frustration and create a space for trust to thrive. When you trust him to manage his own life, he'll feel more confident in his choices and more appreciative of your support. Autonomy is also about embracing the differences that make each person unique. You might have hobbies, routines, or friendships that don't involve you, and that's okay. Encouraging him to maintain these aspects of his life shows that you respect him as an individual, not just as a partner. It sends the message, I see you for who you are, and I honor that. Here's a practical tip for respecting his autonomy. Reflect on your expectations. Are there areas where you unintentionally try to control or influence his decisions? If so, consider whether those expectations align with the trust and freedom you want to cultivate in your relationship. Adjusting your approach might feel unfamiliar at first, but over time, it will foster a healthier and more balanced connection. Finally, remember that respecting autonomy doesn't mean you can't express your opinions or desires. The key is how you communicate them. Instead of issuing ultimatums or making demands, frame your thoughts in a way that invites collaboration. For example, instead of saying, I don't want you to go, try, I'd miss you while you're away, but I support what's important to you. When you respect his autonomy, you're not just honoring his freedom. You're strengthening the trust, admiration, and respect that form the foundation of your relationship. It's a powerful, silent message that says, I value you for who you are, and I trust you to lead your life with integrity. And in return, he will likely mirror that respect, creating a partnership rooted in mutual appreciation and understanding. 7. Exude subtle confidence. Confidence doesn't need to be loud to be impactful. The most captivating confidence is often quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in self-awareness. As James Allen so beautifully put it, self-control is strength, the right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. This kind of subtle confidence speaks volumes without you ever having to raise your voice. Imagine walking into a room, not to draw attention, but simply because you belong there. You carry yourself with poise, maintain eye contact, and offer a warm but composed smile. It's not about being the center of attention, it's about being at ease with yourself. This kind of confidence is magnetic. It draws people in because it signals strength, clarity, and authenticity. In love, subtle confidence is transformative. It shows that you don't rely on external validation to feel secure in who you are. Instead, you project self-assurance through your actions, decisions, and demeanor. This quiet strength is incredibly appealing to men because it reflects emotional maturity and a strong sense of self. For example, consider a situation where your partner expresses interest in something you're unfamiliar with, maybe a hobby or a career goal. Instead of feeling insecure or comparing yourself, you respond with curiosity. "That sounds fascinating. Tell me more about it." This kind of response demonstrates confidence in your ability to engage and connect without feeling threatened or inadequate. Psychologically, confidence is linked to self-regulation and emotional intelligence. When you're confident, you don't react impulsively to challenges or setbacks. Instead, you approach situations with calmness and a problem-solving mindset. This is especially powerful in relationships where your steady demeanor can provide stability and reassurance. But how do you cultivate subtle confidence if it doesn't come naturally? Start by focusing on self-acceptance. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's about embracing your strengths and owning your imperfections. Reflect on your achievements, no matter how small, and remind yourself of the value you bring to your relationship and the world around you. A practical exercise is to develop habits that reinforce your sense of self-worth. This could be maintaining good posture, practicing mindfulness, or speaking clearly and assertively. Small, consistent actions like these can have a profound impact on how you carry yourself. Here's another key. Trust yourself. When faced with decisions, listen to your intuition and make choices that align with your values. Confidence grows when you learn to rely on your own judgment rather than seeking approval from others. For example, if your partner asks for your opinion on something, don't second-guess yourself. Share your thoughts with clarity and conviction, even if they differ from his perspective. Subtle confidence also shines through in how you handle conflict. Imagine a disagreement with your partner. Instead of raising your voice or becoming defensive, you take a moment to pause, breathe, and respond calmly. You might say, "I hear what you're saying, and I'd like to share how I see this." This approach not only diffuses tension, but also demonstrates emotional strength, which commands respect. It's important to note that confidence is not arrogance. The difference lies in humility. Confidence is knowing your worth without diminishing others. It's the ability to celebrate your partner's strengths and successes without feeling overshadowed. For instance, if he achieves something significant, your genuine excitement and support show that you're secure in yourself and invested in his happiness. Think of confidence as a quiet flame. It doesn't need to burn brightly to be felt. It provides warmth, light, and a steady presence that draws people closer. Men are naturally drawn to women who exude this kind of energy because it creates a sense of balance and security in the relationship. As you embrace your own subtle confidence, remember this: it's not about being the loudest or the boldest. It's about being authentic, grounded, and true to yourself. When you live with this mindset, you don't just command respect, you inspire it. 8. Maintain composure in conflict. Have you ever noticed how quickly a simple disagreement can escalate when emotions run high? In those moments, the ability to stay calm can be your greatest strength. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" This timeless Stoic insight reminds us that losing our composure often leads to regrets far greater than the conflict itself. In love, composure isn't just a tool for resolving disagreements, it's a powerful way to earn respect. When you remain calm during conflict, you show emotional intelligence, self-control, and maturity. These qualities not only de-escalate tension, but also inspire admiration from your partner. Picture this: you're disagreeing, and he starts to raise his voice out of frustration. You feel the temptation to respond in kind, to match his energy, but instead, you pause. You take a deep breath, ground yourself, and respond with a steady voice. "I hear that this is really upsetting for you. Let's talk about how we can solve this together." That moment of calmness changes everything. It shifts the dynamic from confrontation to collaboration, allowing both of you to focus on the issue rather than the emotion. Psychologically, maintaining composure signals strength. It shows that you trust yourself to navigate difficult situations without letting emotions take control. This self-assurance is deeply attractive because it creates a sense of stability in the relationship. Men often feel drawn to women who can handle challenges with grace because it reassures them that the relationship is a safe and supportive space. But how do you cultivate composure when emotions threaten to take over? It starts with mindfulness. When you feel anger or frustration rising, pause and take a deep breath. Remind yourself of your goal. Is it to be right, or is it to strengthen the connection? Shifting your focus to the bigger picture helps you respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. From a practical perspective, grounding techniques can also be incredibly effective. For instance, in the heat of a disagreement, try mentally anchoring yourself by counting your breaths or focusing on a calming image. These small actions can prevent your emotions from dictating your response. It's important to note that composure doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It's about expressing them in a way that's constructive rather than destructive. For example, instead of saying, "You're always ignoring my feelings," try, "I feel unheard when this happens, and I'd like us to work on communicating better." This approach invites understanding rather than defensiveness. Let's return to the example of a heated argument. Imagine that instead of escalating, you calmly suggest a short break to cool down and revisit the conversation later. This simple act shows emotional maturity and prioritizes the health of the relationship over the intensity of the moment. When you approach conflict with this level of self-control, you create an environment where respect can flourish. From a Stoic perspective, composure is a reflection of inner strength. It's about recognizing that while you can't control others' reactions, you can always control your own. By embodying this principle, you set a powerful example for your partner and foster a relationship built on mutual trust and understanding. But composure isn't just about managing conflict, it's also about maintaining your own well-being. When you stay calm, you protect your energy and avoid the emotional toll of unnecessary drama. Over time, this helps you build resilience, making it easier to navigate future challenges with confidence. As you reflect on how to maintain composure in your own relationships, consider this. What would it feel like to approach every disagreement with clarity and calmness? How would it change the way your partner sees and respects you? These moments of reflection can guide you toward becoming the steady, grounded presence that inspires admiration and love. Ultimately, staying composed in conflict isn't about suppressing your voice, it's about amplifying your strength. When you choose calmness over chaos, you demonstrate that you're not only capable of handling challenges, but also committed to building a relationship rooted in respect and harmony. And that quiet strength speaks louder than any argument ever could. As we come to the end of this journey, let's reflect on what we've explored together. Respect and love is not about grand gestures or loud declarations, it's earned through the quiet power of your actions. By embracing independence, living by your values, setting firm boundaries, listening deeply, balancing support, respecting autonomy, exuding subtle confidence, and maintaining composure, you create a presence that commands admiration and trust. These principles are not fleeting tips, they are transformative practices rooted in emotional intelligence and timeless wisdom. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it. Staying calm in conflict, trusting your values, and honoring your partner's individuality are all part of building a love that stands the test of time. Now, take a moment to consider, which of these actions resonates most with you? How can you start incorporating them into your life today? Your journey to cultivating respect and deepening your connections begins with one simple step. We'd love to hear from you. What has been your experience with commanding respect in relationships? Have you tried any of these silent actions before? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Your insights could inspire others on their journey to stronger, more fulfilling relationships. Remember, respect is not demanded, it's inspired. Through your actions, you have the power to build a love that's rooted in trust, admiration, and mutual growth.